Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm late. I was at my frozen yogurt fundraiser for literally the last 8 hours. So, oh, and plus school. So I haven't been home until like literally 20 minutes ago. So there's that. So I'm going to just launch into this because otherwise I will take forever to get through my list because that's just how I work. Okay, so my name is Samantha Sarah Snow Tucker. Samantha because my dad always wanted to name one of his children Sam. Sarah because it was the third most popular name at the time. My parents wanted something I could latch onto. And Snow because my mother's great 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 grandfather, she's adopted so not really, but her great great grandfather Snow was one of the navigators who led the Mormons to Utah. Not one of the Mormons, one of the navigators for the Mormons. So there you go. There's the history of my name, and I recommend you never play the name game with my last name out loud. And I'm sure you all are about to try it. So I had I'm just gonna launch into this random order of things, but I just had my first job interview on Monday. Literally my first one ever, and it was for Office Max, and I really hope I get a job there because I really just am tired of applying for jobs, and I have to have one for this summer. Like, it's not optional. Anyways, in addition to that kind of business thing, it really made me think during that interview of all those questions they asked me. I might be probably one of the most determined people you will ever find, and that makes me a really good business person. I mean, like, with all this fundraising, like, I've talked so many people into it or manipulated them into doing it for me, but not like manipulated a bad thing, like, hey, I'll give you a free Snickers, homemade Snickers bar if you buy a ticket from me. And people just love homemade Snickers, so they buy a ticket. But anyways, I just push back from all the hard times, and I just keep going. And a lot of people, like, for instance, I can deal with rejection really well. Most people can't, and rejection just never phases me, because I mean, out of what, like, the 7 billion people in the world, one of them's bound to accept me, so I just kind of move on. And although it upsets me when friends not disagree, but just like float away from me based off of, rejection or whatever, it is upsetting, but things get better. Anyways, this is all very downtrodden, I know. The other one is that I'm extremely strong-willed. If you get into an argument with me over politics, social issues, religion, just views on a subject, not necessarily like math or something that has a definitive answer, I will. No one's going to convince me. It's not that I'm like extremely stubborn. It's just I hold firm to my beliefs. Like, for instance, peer pressure just doesn't influence me, and I think that's a really good trait to have because people will never tell me that I'm wrong. Like, they can, but I won't ever believe them. And it's not in a way that makes me look stupid. I mean, if someone like proves a point that, I just never thought of, it's like, oh, okay, you're right. And then I concede to it and I move on. So that's not too bad. Anyways, on to the funner stuff. Katlyn, just like you, I am extremely addicted to chocolate. I know that is supposedly just a girl thing in general, but it's to an extreme with me. Like, my boyfriend will tell you that he's going nearly bankrupt with my chocolate addiction. I have eaten everything in the house that's chocolate, and every time there's something chocolate in the house, I eat it. It is really, really bad. So, I want to see you one-up me on that. Though I do wish one of my friends' mothers owned a chocolate shop, because they would never go out of business if I were there. Speaking of food, I have been to almost all of the high-class restaurants and just weird restaurants in Colorado. I am a foodie. I can literally be a food critic. I have an extremely sensitive sense of taste and smell. So if you put something like a dish in front of me, I can tell you like 75% of the ingredients just by smelling it and taking one bite of it. Of course, I'm not going to be able to guess all of them. I'm not like a professional chef. And I love trying like new things. One of the restaurants I went to like last week, I got penne with rabbit rattlesnake meatballs. They were freaking awesome. So yeah, I'm a huge foodie. I watch Food Network all the time, and I like just experimenting in the kitchen and whatnot. I obviously really like talking. That's one of my like high points. I can always find something to talk about, and I love talking all the time, and I love the sound of my voice, which sounds really stupid, but I think everybody does. Oh, and another pet little pet peeve on talking with me is it drives me crazy when people can't project. Not necessarily if you're like talking face to face, but when they're doing presentations, they should be able to project. Otherwise, it drives me insane. Oh, and on the instrument thing, Caitlin, I've always been extremely jealous of people who play instruments because as a child I always wanted to, but my parents wouldn't let me. And actually it's kind of interesting because I sent out those letters for fundraising, you know, asking relatives for some help, and my uncle sent me a check, and by the way, I'm extremely grateful for everything my family's done for me in this case. So he sent me a check, and then a week later a package came in the mail, and in it was a drum pad, drumsticks, and some instructional DVDs. And it's really cool because in the letter I sent them, I was like, you know, I want to pick up either violin or snare drum in Germany because everybody plays instruments in Germany. Like, seriously, like 80% of Germans have an instrument they play. So just so you know. So I'm definitely, you know, it's obviously like easily packable, so I might bring it, and I've been practicing, you know, different, so it's really cool. So although I haven't done anything like music wise, I have tap danced for the last 13 years of my life, and with a year hiatus somewhere in there, so 14 if you really want to count that. So it's like a really big part of my life, and it's percussion, you know, with the little taps on the bottom. If you didn't, I can show you. Okay. In addition to tapping, I'm a fencer, and I will show you. This is my first mask I ever had, and I bet you guys have never seen one of these except for on TV. It's actually a really cruddy mask, but it's lasted, so, you know, it cost me 20 bucks, which is cheap for a mask, by the way. I don't know if you can see, but there's these stamps all over it. When you go to a tournament, they check your mask to see if it has any weak spots. They put this, like, ice pick thing in it, into little holes in it to see if they're weak, and check to see if it's, like, broken anywhere. And then they sign off on it, and you can't fence unless you show the referee your stamp. But when I went to the Junior Olympics a few months ago, I got my new mask, and it's German. The other one was like Chinese or something. See, they put a cute little plaque on it, and it's so much nicer. I like this mask a lot. And it's FWF, which is the best German fencing company in the world. Just so you know. A final hobby I do is shooting. I occasionally go to a shooting range. My mom kind of got me into that, and I enjoy it at times. I'm not like super gun crazy, but it's fun. In addition, my mom is also like a huge movie fanatic, so we have like over 650 DVDs, and I've seen them all. Well, almost all of them. I think I've not seen 50 of them, about. But that's still a lot of DVDs. So I watch movies all the time. And when I was young, I was obsessed with musicals. So I know almost all of the Disney songs. And I know some girls can boast to that, but I mean, really, I know almost all of the Disney songs. In addition to that, movies, music, whatever, I listen to classical, country, and punk rock. I'm crazy about school. I love it, and I hate it at the same time. I'm super crazy about my grades. This is the first year I've ever gotten B's, and it's been soul crushing. And it's bothering me right now that I have more B's than A's, but that'll change in the next week when school's over. I will have more B's than A's! Or, I will have more A's than B's, I promise. You're probably like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. And with that, I love numbers. Like, I love this fundraising thing because I get to deal with numbers the entire time. I almost calculated the totals on those receipts from tonight at that fundraiser, but I restrained myself so I didn't look like a weirdo. Speaking of the yogurt fundraiser, I love tart things. Like, really tart lemonade and tart yogurt, like frozen yogurt. And my boyfriend thinks I'm crazy, and he always goes when he eats something I like, but whatever. In addition, my eyes and smile are my favorite things about myself, and I like my eyes the most, not necessarily because of their color, but because they are the most animated whenever I talk, and that's where most of my facial expressions come from. And I like my smile, because it took 5 years to make. The first thing I noticed about a person is their voice, which I always thought it was something else, like their hair or their eyes, but recently I just found that out, so I think that's kind of interesting. Like Caitlyn, I love outdoor stuff. Being a Coloradan, I like hiking, backpacking, camping, whitewater rafting, kayaking. I'm super outdoorsy. In fact, I own 4 pairs of hiking shoes. I wear a pair all the time. Here they are. I have like classic boot, and then I have even more classic boot that are leather, and then finally I have a pair if I go like hiking in watery regions or something. So I think I win, Caitlin. I'm sorry. Finally, and I'm sorry this is so long. I'm sorry, Caitlin. I really get away. Like I told you guys, I like to hear myself talk, but I have 3 more things. Kind of relating back to the movies. I am a huge crier. Like, if something's even remotely sad in a movie, I am crying. And it's the same with books. So, I may not look like that much of a sensitive person, but my gosh, when I read or see something sad, it's just like, it's so sad. I absolutely love writing and anything to do with language, which is probably why I speak parts of 3 different languages, French, English, and German, and I hope to be fluent in all of them by the time I graduate high school. Woo! Sorry. And my last point, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy for this, but I raise eggs. Ducks, in fact. I actually have quite a few in my incubator there. They're 11 days old, and you really don't understand, like, the miracle of life until you hatch an egg. It's amazing. I will make a Facebook page so we can set themes. I don't think it's fair for me to set the theme again, so you guys are going to have to contribute to that. But I will see you again next Wednesday, and I hope we all figure out our host families soon, because I'm going nuts. And I will let you guys all know about my fund situation next time. Anyways, sorry it's so long, but